Okay, the next data gathering technique is questionnaires. Questionnaires or survey is very popular data gathering technique. I believe you have experience doing this method in a lot of other courses such as probability and statistics, SAD, ISE. Okay, this questionnaires method is very similar to interviews in the sense that both methods um, can have open and closed questions. Okay, the main difference between questionnaires compared to interviews is that interviews has very limited participants, but questionnaires can be administered to a larger populations, even those in remote locations. Okay, you can disseminate it or distribute your questionnaires online or paper-based, email, or via the website online. Okay, and the closed questions are easier to analyze and maybe distribute and analyze by computer. And there's lots of software tools, online tools that you can actually use to distribute or and analyze your questions, such as Google Docs, Quick Survey, and SurveyMonkey. So, as I told you earlier, there is a very high similarity between questionnaires and interviews. So, when when do you use questionnaire? When would you choose to use questionnaire, and when would you choose to use interviews to gather your data? Which one will you choose? Okay, which is the most appropriate method for your study? Okay, so the answer is it depends on the user's motivation, on the respondent's motivations. Okay, if the respondents or the subject that will answer your questions are very motivated, okay, highly motivated to answer even without anyone else present, then you may use questionnaire. Okay, but in a case where they're not really motivated, that they, if you give them one Likert scale questions, a lot of Likert scales question, I ask them to rate 1 to 5, and they just go like all three or all four, meaning that they are not really motivated to answer. So, in that sense, in that case, it will be recommended for you to do the interview session face to face. Okay, so because you will be able to get more useful feedback or more useful answer and more honest answer, okay, rather than having this kind of questionnaire that they might, just give you kind of rubbish answers rather than those actual answers. Okay. Next, these are some checklists or general advices on designing questionnaires that you may follow. First of all, think about who will answer this questionnaire. What are the language that you use? Okay, whether your population will understand your questions. Okay, if you use a language that is not in mother tongue like English, for Malay population, so you targeting all the adults population, so you might think about whether your questions, your English version questionnaire is understandable for these older adults Malay. Okay, so if you think that they might not be able to understand all those um, words that is in different language than their mother tongue, so you might need to have a different version of your questionnaire. Okay, and then you also has to provide a clear instructions on how to complete the questionnaire. For example, if only one box says that need to be checked, or is there any questions that can skip and proceed to the next question, so you have to be clearly mentioned about that instructions in your questionnaire. And number three is that avoid using long questionnaires, similar like interviews. Long questions is highly not recommended. Okay, and last one, decide whether the questions will be all positive, all negative, or mixed. This method is usually done to check users' intention, whether they did actually read and understand the question, or they just simply tick answer. They just simply tick, simply tick. Again, just like Likert scale, they just simply tick all three or all four to answer the questions. Okay, so you can use a mixture of positive and negative questions in your questionnaire.